In this mini installment, we're going to just take a moment to look at the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the last book in the Torah, Torah again being the first 5 books of the Bible. And the point of Deuteronomy is not the laws that are listed, but the point is the choice that is before each person. That is where we find the purpose of life, is in Deuteronomy. And Deuteronomy's point is choose God. Choose Him over the pagan gods, the pagan practices. Choose to glorify Him, to live a life that others would see who your God is. It's the idea that you don't live a life that others will go, oh, who is that person? What do they do? Why are they being blessed? But the idea is that you live a life that glorifies God, so the people say, who is their God, or who is her or his God? So Deuteronomy, the point is not the laws, but the point is to make God your choice, to live and submit to Him and obey Him. And the question, I think, is we should ask ourselves is, what is our purpose? The book of Deuteronomy was written for the audience at that time, as well as for the audiences that follow. And it's about the land that they're going to be entering. This is a land we think of as the Promised Land, the Holy Land. It's the land that they were being delivered into. We know that Adonai was leading them, and Adonai appeared as a pillar of fire and a cloud, and he had been giving these instructions to this mixed multitude of how they were to live in the land when they got there. And basically what we see is this mini picture of kingdom living. It's the idea that they will be living in the land that the king, the Almighty, is giving them, delivering them to, and they are to go by the instructions that he has set forth. And so the idea is that they are to enter the land, and they have a purpose for entering that land, and their purpose is to enter the land that God is giving them, and to choose Him and to obey Him, so that other nations around can see who God is. And so the question is, what is your purpose? What statement are you making to people? Do they look at your life and see that you live a life that glorifies God, or do they look at your life and see that you're just maybe purpose-driven for self only? So as we look at Deuteronomy, we see and encounter a special prayer, a special blessing, and it's really the watchword of Israel. It's the watchword of the people that will be going into the land, and we also see it as a foundation for Jewish thinking today, and that idea is the Shema. We find it in Deuteronomy 6:4, and it's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God, the Lord is one. And this is very much the foundational picture of them going into the land, that they have only one God, and that they are to Shema. And the idea of Shema is more than just hear. The idea of Shema is you hear it, you listen to it, you obey it, and you do it. And so this is their foundation for going into the land. It's to Shema, or hear, listen, put action to what Adonai their God has given them to do. And then it goes on to say, you are to love Adonai your God with all your heart, all your being, and all your resources. So the idea is they are to love God, they are to fear God, they are to worship Him alone, and they are to be different from the other nations that surround them. And truly, that's what I think as believers in Yeshua, we are to be different than the world. When we believe in God as our Father, we are to be different than the world. We are not to conform to the world, but we are to obey and conform and live a life that glorifies God the Father through His Son, Yeshua. Thank you for being with us today.